Morning survivors, time for coffee. Should be a good one today. So yesterday, we talked about, was it yesterday? We talked about how sometimes you don't want to leave the house. When you've been abused by a narcissist, you go through depression, you go through anxiety and all this other stuff. And you get to this point where you're so exhausted by people that you don't want to leave the house. Whether it's because you're depressed or because you're stressed or anxious or whatever, or just because you feel like you need to restore yourself. And then somebody asked me in the comments, well, how do you get over that? So that is what we're going to talk about today, my friend. All right, let's do it. I don't think that this means we're agoraphobic necessarily, because most of us still can go out and do what we need to do as necessary. If you are agoraphobic, you should understand that, according to my research, it is something that can be managed but not necessarily cured, okay, which I find interesting. But when it's related to depression or stress or the abuse that you've been dealing with, I think it's different. And I think what I've had to do is just kind of force myself to get through it. And what I mean is, like, eventually you have to go to the store. Eventually you have to go and buy the things that you need to get through your day, or you have to go to some family event or whatever. Now, one way to do that is to go with someone who you trust, a friend, your kid, anybody that you feel comfortable with. Because sometimes I think it's just about anxiety, right? Another thing you can do is start to prepare yourself in advance. So like when I was, for example, I gave a speech a while back at a business thing for some people who wanted to learn about social media. And I was very nervous about it. But I think thanks to y'all, I did better than I previously have when I've done speeches. And it's funny because when I was in high school, I was on the speech team, and every single time I did a speech, I was so nervous and stressed out about it. And somehow in my old age, I've done better. And I think it's because of the fact that I've become more secure in myself, right? So anyway, but before I did this speech, I prepared myself mentally, and I made sure I had all the notes I needed. I had a slide deck. I did all the things. And I read, how can I be a better speaker? How can I make people understand me, etc. Now, was I perfect? I don't think so. But did I make a lot of sense to people? Yeah, I think I really did. And I think I really helped people. So preparing for these types of things, preparing to go out in the world, even if it's just something as simple as a grocery store trip. If you're struggling to get out of the house, a grocery store trip can feel monumental. But if you can find it within yourself to feel calm before you go, and to be prepared, and to think, if you need to, you can even think, okay, like let's say it's a grocery store trip, okay, I'll just use that as an example. You can close your eyes and you can, imagine that you're walking through the grocery store and that you're, going through each aisle and picking up the things you need. Visualize yourself successfully going out is my point, all right? That's another way you can deal with it. You have to know that the longer you don't go out, the harder it gets to go out, okay? So you have to make an effort to do something small. One thing, okay? If you feel paralyzed, do one thing. Whether that's just walk out to your mailbox, or, get in your car and drive somewhere, and listen to some music and sing really loud. It always helps me. Just physically kind of making yourself do one thing can take you to the next level on feeling paralyzed. If you just promise yourself, okay, all I have to do is drive to the store and buy one item and then I can leave. Okay, then do that. And baby steps, my friend, baby steps. Sometimes when like they say, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. You know what I'm saying? So get moving, just a little bit. Still feel anxious? This is where deep breathing can come in and help, okay? So make a point of taking 10 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth, let it go. And try to stay focused on what's happening in this moment right now. You feel me? It makes a difference. The other thing you should do is try to relax your muscles, because as you get stressed out by the stuff you're dealing with every day, your muscles get all tensed up, and that's bad for you. It's unhealthy for your body and your soul, because sometimes if you can make your body feel relaxed, you can make your brain feel relaxed too. Feel me? Same goes for if your body's stressed out. It's kind of like almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of deal, right? So relax your muscles, do your deep breathing, think happy thoughts. That's one way to move. Anxiety will not kill you directly. It can affect your health, whether people admit it or not. It can affect your blood pressure. It can affect a lot of things. Remember, the state of your mind also determines the state of your body, and vice versa. So keep your head on straight and realize what you're really dealing with. Don't overwhelm yourself with negative possibilities. Keep your vibration as positive as you can. That's a big, helpful thing. And like I tell you every day, if you're struggling with your vibration, think of 10 things you're grateful for in any moment, okay? Think of 3 things you love about yourself, and try to stay focused on what feels good to you, okay? You're going through a hard time right now with this whole narcissism thing and the narcissistic abuse recovery. It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy, you guys. That's why I talk to you every day, because I want you to feel supported, okay? I need to say something really quickly here, and this is just between y'all and me. A lot of you guys message me a lot. I get messages on Facebook. I get messages, through Twitter, emails, all these things, and I try really hard to respond to every one of them. But we're getting to a point where I'm just one person and I can't always respond to all the messages. I try really hard, but I have to take care of my family and stuff too. So I just want you guys to know that I do read your messages. I don't always have the ability to respond. I try really hard to respond. It just depends on, what time of day it is and stuff like that. But I just want to put that out there. Okay. All right. Next thing. Sometimes we don't realize that we are, having catastrophic thinking, right? Because we're so stressed out about the stuff in our lives that we're like, well, maybe I'll faint, or maybe I'll get in a car accident, or, we start thinking the worst possible things that could happen. And so one way that you can feel better about going out in the world again and get unparalyzed is to not do that. Sure, if you need to think of the worst case scenarios, then do it. But I don't really think that's helpful. I think what you should do instead is visualize the best possible scenario, because remember, whatever you're focusing on is how your life's going to go. That's just how it works, right? We tend to underestimate or overestimate the power that other people have on our lives sometimes. So make sure that you're keeping things in check and understanding what's really happening here, all right? I want you to ask yourself some questions. Ask yourself, let's use the grocery store example. What is the worst thing that could happen at the grocery store? And, what? You're going to have a panic attack, you're going to fall down in the middle of the aisle and scream and kick and act crazy? Probably not. But if you go to the grocery store, and you do fall down and scream and act crazy in the middle of the aisle, what's going to happen? Nothing. People are going to be like, oh, that chick's weird, whatever, or that guy's weird. But you're not going to do that. That's not who you are, right? So don't overthink it, don't overprocess it, all right? Let's get the next question. So ask yourself, okay, so I've gone to the grocery store a million times in my lifetime. How many times has this bad thing happened that I'm concerned about? And if you can't really come up with an actual number, or you don't have an actual number because it's never happened before, then you can ask yourself, am I overestimating my fear? What's really going to happen? So it's not necessarily about fear. I think it's about lethargy sometimes. So if you feel the need, look, here it goes, you guys. This is the best tip I can give you right here, okay? If you feel like you're stuck, you can't get up out of bed, you can't get up off the couch, you can't do the things you need to do in your life, and you feel like shit about it, do one thing. One thing. If I'm feeling overwhelmed in my house, and I want to clean the house, let's say. I do feel overwhelmed by cleaning sometimes. It's a lot of work. Then what I'll do is I'll clean one spot, right? So the entryway table, or, take the boxes out of my office from the products I got last week, or whatever. Get rid of one thing. Do one thing. Make one small movement. And when you make one small movement, like I said, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. Something to think about. Things you can do: intentional thought monitoring. Laugh a lot. Make a point of feeling good in your life. Because the better we feel, the more we feel like getting up and going, right? And that's true whether it's getting your housework done, getting your real work done, getting your your groceries bought, all those things. It all comes down to that. Feel good. Feel joy. Find reasons to laugh, reasons to smile, people to love. Even if it's when you're putting love out into the world, it doesn't have to be romantic love, right? You love your kids, you love your pets, you love your friends, you love your family, the ones that aren't toxic anyway. Not that you shouldn't love everybody, but just love. Feel love and show love to yourself and to other people around you. It makes a difference as well. You're going to want to find support, right? So join SPAN. That's where we have, it's more than 2,000 people in the group now, all survivors, all people who are genuinely there to be supported and to give support. And it's a wonderful group with amazing admins. I feel very blessed every day to have it. So if you want to learn more about that, visit queenbeing.com/SPAN. Find yourself some joy. One more tip: journal it, write about it, blog about it, whatever makes you happy, whatever feels good to you, okay? And let me just tell you one more thing before I go. The more that you allow the narcissist and the narcissist behavior to affect your life now, whether you're still with the narcissist or you've moved on, the more you do that, the more you're allowing them to continue to control your life. And you deserve better than that, my friend, okay? I want you to stand up. I want you to put your chin up today. And I want you to feel good about yourself, okay? I want you to think of 3 things you love about yourself right now. And I want you to put them in the comments below if you feel like it. I want you to think of 10 things that you're grateful for. You can put them in the comments or not. It's up to you. I'd like you to tell me your thoughts about this video today. Okay, tell me what you think. Tell me how else I can help you. I am doing my best to answer everybody's questions in videos because I know that we all have so many of the same questions. All right, so please leave the comments below. I'm screenshotting all the ones, all the questions, and I'm trying to answer one every day. So, or more than one. So, oh, and let me know, would you guys be interested in like a live Q&A session sometime? Because I could do that too. All right, I'm wrapping up for now. I've got to go get Sophie to school and do all these grown-up things before I get back to work, and I've got, gosh, I think 4 or 5 appointments today with clients. So hopefully I'll be able to get your video done for, well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a wonderful day. And as always, thanks for letting me be a part of your life, and thanks for being a part of mine. See you soon.